You've felt this your entire life. You work harder, you're more loyal. You forgive more, and they treat you worse. Your partner takes you for granted. Your boss underpays you. Your friends disrespect your boundaries. Your family ignores your needs. You walk into rooms and feel invisible. You give everything and get scraps in return. You thought being good would be enough. It isn't. And deep down, you know exactly why. People don't value what's always available. They value what they fear losing. Right now, nobody fears losing you. And that's not an accident. You taught them. Every time you stayed after being disrespected, you sent a signal. Every time you forgave, without them earning it, you proved something. Every time you were always there, always available, always understanding, you taught them a lesson they will never forget. You are safe, permanent, zero risk of loss, and safe equals worthless. Here's the brutal truth society is too polite to tell you. Humans are wired to fight. Harder to keep what they fear losing than to gain something new. Psychologists call it loss aversion. The pain of losing something is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. But here's the condition most people miss. They have to believe they can actually lose it. Think about your own life. The relationships where you're treated best, those are the ones where they sense you could walk away. The job that negotiates with you, the one where you interviewed elsewhere, the friend who respects your time, the one who knows you're not desperate for connection. The moment someone believes you'll never leave, effort stops, respect dies, value collapses. You became furniture, a fixture, something that will always be there no matter how they treat it. In the next 20 minutes, we're going to show you exactly how to become dangerous to lose. Not through threats, not through games, not through manipulation, but through psychological mechanisms that trigger fear of loss in every relationship you have. By the end of this, you will understand why being good has kept you powerless, and you will have the exact tools to shift the power dynamic so that people start protecting what they have with you, instead of assuming you'll always be there. But understand this, once you see how this works, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to being furniture in someone else's life. You will recognize the game everywhere, in your relationships, at your workplace, in your family, and you will never play the victim again. So if you're ready to stop being taken for granted, if you're ready to make losing you expensive, stay with me. Let's start with why nobody protects what they think they'll never lose. The more dependable you became, the less they valued you. This is the paradox nobody warns you about. You thought consistency would build trust. You thought reliability would earn respect. You thought being the person who never leaves would make them treasure you. It did the opposite. Permanence kills urgency. Look at your own behavior. The friend who always picks up your call, they stop being special. You call them whenever. You cancel on them because you know they'll understand. You take your time responding because they'll always be there. But the friend who's sometimes unavailable, the one who has a life you're not the center of, you clear your schedule when they're free. You respond faster. You value the access because it feels limited. Now, flip it. You're the one who's always available, always forgiving, always there. What signal does that send? The partner who forgives everything becomes emotionally disposable. Why? Because there's no cost to mistreating them. You can test the boundaries. You can take them for granted. You can treat them like an option. And they'll still be there tomorrow, explaining why they deserve better, but never actually leaving. But the partner who might actually leave, you monitor their mood. You course correct when you see distance. You try harder because you feel the ground shifting beneath you. At work, it's the same game. The employee who never threatens to quit gets the lowest raises. They're reliable, dependable, safe. Management knows they'll stay no matter what, so why invest more? But the employee interviewing elsewhere? Suddenly they're critical to retain. Suddenly budget appears. Suddenly their contributions are recognized. The brutal logic underneath all of this: humans don't protect what they're certain they already own. You became a guaranteed asset, and guaranteed assets are never prioritized. Think about what you've been doing. Every time you stayed after being disrespected, you sent a message. not the one you intended. The message they received was, "I can do this again." Every time you forgave without them earning it, without changed behavior, without real remorse, without consequence, you taught them that your boundaries mean nothing. You said, "Don't treat me like this," and then stayed when they did it again. You said, "This is the last time," and then gave another chance. You said you had standards and then lowered them the moment they tested you. They're not monsters. They're just learning the rules of the game you've been teaching them. And the rule is simple. There is no risk of losing you. You trained them the same way you'd train a dog. Consistency, repetition, reward without consequence. They learned that your presence is permanent, your forgiveness is automatic, your love is unconditional in the worst possible way. You thought unconditional love meant accepting everything. It doesn't. It means your love for yourself doesn't have conditions. Theirs for you, that should be earned. But you gave it away for free. No maintenance required, no respect necessary, no effort expected. Here's what you need to understand. You need to be missable to be valuable. And right now, you're not missable. You're guaranteed. You're the subscription they forgot they're paying for because it auto-renews. You're the app they never open because it's always on their phone. You're background noise, furniture, infrastructure, and nobody protects infrastructure until it's gone. That's about to change. Because what you've been doing wrong, it's not about loyalty. It's about economics. Every relationship operates on an invisible ledger. People don't admit this. They'll tell you relationships are about love, trust, connection, and on the surface, they are. But underneath, running quietly in the background of every human interaction, is a calculation. What does keeping this person cost me versus what does losing them cost me? Right now, here's the math on you. Cost of keeping you, nothing. You require no effort, no maintenance, no special treatment. You don't need to be courted. You don't need to be impressed. You don't demand respect because you've proven you'll stay without it. Cost of losing you, also nothing. Because someone who never leaves can't be lost. There's no void, no consequence, no pain. They can treat you however they want, and the worst case, you're still there tomorrow. Result, they invest nothing. This is the betrayal you've been feeling but couldn't name. You're being economically irrational, and they're exploiting it. You're giving luxury treatment at discount prices. No, worse than that, at no price. You're running a charity, and they've learned to treat you like one. Think about every other area of your life. A luxury brand that's always on sale isn't luxury. It's devalued. A person who's always free to hang out is assumed to have no options. A partner who never enforces consequences is assumed to have no self-respect. You thought giving freely was love, but they interpreted it as desperation. Here's what you didn't understand about power. Power in relationships isn't held by who gives more. It's held by who needs the relationship less. The person willing to walk away holds all the leverage. Not because they're cruel, not because they don't care, but because their life is full without you, because they have options, because they know their value and refuse to accept anything less than respect. When you positioned yourself as someone who will never leave, you gave away your only leverage. You told them, "Test me, I'll stay. Disrespect me, I'll forgive. Ignore me, I'll still be here." And they believed you because you've proven it true 100 times. But here's what happens when the math changes. When losing you becomes expensive, when they sense that mistreating you might actually cost them your presence, the entire ledger recalculates. Cost of keeping you well treated, some effort, some respect, some intentionality, some sacrifice of ego. Cost of losing you, massive. The void you'd leave, the regret, the jealousy of watching someone else have you, the loss of status, the loneliness. Suddenly, investment appears. Suddenly they remember how to try. Suddenly they remember your worth. Not because you begged, not because you explained, but because the economic reality shifted. But think now, who in your life has been getting the luxury experience at discount prices? Who's been taking everything and giving nothing because the cost-benefit analysis told them they could. Your partner who stopped trying because you kept forgiving. Your friend who only calls when they need something because you always pick up. Your boss who hasn't given you a raise because you've never made them afraid you'd leave. They're not evil. They're just responding to the incentive structure you created. So how do you make losing you expensive? There are 7 mechanisms, 7 psychological levers that shift the power dynamic without you saying a word, without threats, without games, without becoming someone you're not. Each one sends a signal, and together they create something you've never had before, the fear of your absence. Let's break them down. If this content is making sense to you, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Rule 1. Have a life they're not part of. When your world is full without them, they sense they're replaceable in your life. That terrifies people. Stop centering your entire existence around them. Have friends they don't know. Have hobbies they're not involved in. Have plans that don't include them. Have a Thursday night that belongs to you, not to them, not to anyone who takes you for granted. Most people do the opposite. They meet someone, a partner, a new friend, a demanding boss, and they start orbiting. They cancel on other people. They drop hobbies. They make themselves endlessly available because they think that's what commitment looks like. It isn't. It's what devaluation looks like. Because when they call and you're actually busy, not fake busy, not playing games, but genuinely engaged in your life, they feel it. The security they had starts to crack. They thought they were the center. They thought your world revolved around them. And now there's evidence it doesn't. They begin to wonder, am I losing importance in their life? Am I becoming replaceable? Where do I rank now? That question, that uncertainty, is the beginning of fear. Rule 2, be willing to walk away and show it. Not through threats, through energy. When someone senses you could leave without breaking, they grip tighter. You don't say, I'm going to leave if you don't change. You don't announce. You don't give ultimatums. You just carry yourself like someone who has options and knows their worth. This is a shift in your body language, in your tone, in how long you tolerate disrespect before you go quiet. They start to feel it in your detachment. You're not desperate. You're not clinging. You're not explaining why you deserve better. You're just fine, self-contained, whole without them. And that fine is terrifying. Because they've never seen you like this before. You used to chase reassurance. You used to need their validation. You used to break first in every silence. Now, you don't. The philosopher Schopenhauer illustrated this with a parable about porcupines huddling for warmth in winter. They needed closeness to survive, but their quills kept pricking each other. They had to find the right distance, close enough for warmth, far enough to avoid pain. The lesson: some emotional distance is necessary. The person who eliminates all distance, who makes themselves completely harmless, loses the ability to inspire respect. The one who can't cause pain can't inspire fear of loss. So you stop being harmless, not through cruelty, through boundaries, through the quiet willingness to walk if the cost exceeds the value, and they feel it. Rule 3, stop being the one who always reaches out. Let the silence grow. Let them feel your absence. Absence is where fear is born. They're used to you initiating, used to you checking in, used to you being the one who texts first, who calls first, who makes sure the connection doesn't die. Stop. Break their expectation. Let the silence stretch. Let them wonder. Because here's what happens in that silence. Their brain fills the void with anxiety. Why haven't they reached out? Are they pulling away? Did I do something? Are they mad? Are they losing interest? Are they talking to someone else? The human mind hates uncertainty. It will create stories to fill the gap. And most of those stories will make them feel the ground shifting. In that silence, they're forced to think about you. They're forced to realize they've been taking your presence for granted. They're forced to feel what your absence might actually mean. Suddenly, they're the one thinking about you at 2 in the morning. Suddenly, they're the one initiating. Suddenly, they're the one trying to close the distance. The dynamic has flipped. You're no longer chasing. You're being chased. Not because you played hard to get, but because you stopped playing entirely. Rule 4, improve visibly, get better looking, make more money, gain status. When they see others noticing you, they suddenly remember what they have. This isn't vanity, this is economics. Humans determine value based on what others value. It's called social proof. The partner who ignored your new haircut suddenly cares when strangers compliment it. The friend who took you for granted suddenly gets nervous when you post photos with new people. Why? Because external validation triggers internal recalibration. They thought you were theirs, guaranteed, static. Now there's evidence you're not static. You're improving, you're glowing up, you're rising, and worse, other people have noticed. When they see other people wanting your time, valuing your opinion, laughing at your jokes, competing for your attention, that's when it hits. You're not just better, you're better, and the market has noticed. You're no longer a guaranteed asset. You're a limited resource with rising demand. And that creates panic, because now the question isn't will they stay, the question is, can I keep them? They start to see what they've been blind to. They start to see you the way others see you, and suddenly taking you for granted feels like a risk they can't afford. These 4 mechanisms start the shift. They create the conditions for fear of loss. But the next 3, they're what make it permanent. Because fear of loss isn't just created. It has to be enforced. It has to be proven real. It has to cost something when they test it. Let's keep going. Rule 5, withdraw warmth when disrespected. Don't argue, don't complain, just become cold. Let them feel the temperature drop. Most people do the opposite. Someone disrespects them and they argue. They explain why it hurt. They defend their position. They try to make the other person understand, and in doing so, they give them something to fight against. When you argue, you create a battlefield, and on a battlefield, they can defend, they can deflect, they can justify, they can minimize, they can wait you out until you're exhausted, and they win by attrition. You think you're standing up for yourself. You're actually giving them a chance to escape consequences. But when you withdraw warmth, no lingering eye contact, no laughter at their jokes, no texts back, no emotional availability, no warmth in your voice, there's nothing to fight. Just the absence of something they didn't know they needed until it was gone. That chill teaches faster than words ever could. They feel it immediately. The shift in your energy, the wall that wasn't there before, the distance, the coldness. And because there's nothing to argue against, they're forced to sit with it. They're forced to review their own behavior. They're forced to realize, I crossed a line, I did something, and now I'm paying for it. In that uncertainty, they scramble to get your warmth back, not because you demanded it, because they felt the cost of losing it. Rule 6, let them see your options. Not through jealousy games, through natural proof that others want your time, attention, and presence. Scarcity creates panic, and right now, you're not scarce. You're abundant, always available, always theirs. But when they realize you're not just available to them, that other people want access to you, that you're being invited places, that you're having conversations they're not part of, the fear intensifies. This isn't about making them jealous. It's about revealing reality. You're invited somewhere, and you go. You have conversations with other people. You're seen laughing, thriving, engaged, not as manipulation, as the truth of your life. And when they see it, a thought enters their mind that never existed before. If I lose them, someone else gets them, brand new, unjaded, full of the energy and effort I used to get before I stopped trying. That thought is pure terror, because it's not theoretical anymore. It's real. Other people see your value. Other people would treat you better. Other people would be grateful to have what they've been taking for granted. Here's the truth about people. There are 2 types in every relationship: replaceables and risks. Replaceables are safe, predictable, emotionally cheap. When people think about losing them, they think, if I lose them, someone else will do what they did. I'll be fine. Risks are rare. Their presence feels earned, not automatic. When people think about losing them, they think, I may never meet someone like this again. The only difference between the two, risks are willing to walk. That willingness is power. It doesn't scream, it doesn't threaten, it just exists, like a silent contract in every interaction. And once they feel it, they move differently around you. Rule 7, mean your boundaries. When you say something is unacceptable, act on it. One enforcement creates more fear than 100 warnings. You've said, don't treat me like this before, and they did it again. And you stayed. What did they learn? Your boundaries are negotiable. Your threats are empty. Your standards are flexible. You'll absorb the pain to avoid loneliness. You'll tolerate disrespect to keep the connection. You'll lower the bar rather than enforce the line. And once they learned that, they stopped respecting the line entirely. So here's the shift. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Stop giving chances. When a boundary is crossed, enforce. Withdraw. Go cold. Not forever, not as punishment. Just long enough for them to feel what? Losing access to you actually costs. Humans respect certainty. When your boundaries are rigid, when crossing them has immediate visible consequence, people learn fast. They stop testing. They stop pushing. They start respecting. Because you've proven something they didn't believe before. You mean what you say. You will actually leave. You are not bluffing. And that changes everything. Respect isn't given to the person who tolerates everything. It's given to the person who tolerates nothing past a clear line. The person who says, this is unacceptable, once, and enforces it, immediately gets more respect than the person who says it 100 times and never acts. Your words have been meaningless because your actions contradicted them. Now your actions speak. And actions are the only language power understands. When these 7 mechanisms work together, boundaries enforced, visibility raised, presence made scarce, something shifts. Not in you, in them. The fear of loss becomes real. The cost of mistreating you becomes undeniable. The panic of losing you becomes a constant hum in the back of their mind. And that's when everything changes. Fear of abandonment is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. When someone believes they might lose you, their entire system activates. It's not conscious. It's not a decision. It's a survival mechanism buried deep in the brain, triggered the moment the ground beneath them starts to feel unstable. Suddenly they're checking their behavior. Suddenly they're initiating contact. Suddenly they're showing effort, prioritizing you, remembering the things you said mattered. Not because you demanded it, not because you explained one more time why you deserve better. Because they felt the void. Presence dulls the senses. Absence sharpens them. When you disappear, emotionally, physically, energetically, people get their first real glimpse of what losing you would actually mean. And in that void, something strange happens. They don't remember what annoyed them about you. They don't remember the arguments. They don't remember the reasons they stopped trying. They remember how safe they felt with you, how you never judged them, how you showed up when no one else did, how you understood them in ways they didn't even understand themselves. Loss has a way of clarifying value. And once they feel it, once they taste what your absence costs, they can't go back to taking you for granted. Let me be clear about what you're doing here. Making someone afraid to lose you isn't cruelty. It's economic correction. You're not punishing them. You're not playing games. You're simply making the cost match the value. Right now, they're getting a luxury experience at discount prices. No effort required, no respect necessary, no consequences for mistreatment. You're adjusting the market to reflect reality. And when the market adjusts, behavior adjusts. When you become dangerous to lose, 3 things happen. You're not feared. You're respected. You're not avoided. You're pursued. You're not cruel. You're valuable. And value, once established, protects itself. Watch what happens in your life when you implement this. The friend who took you for granted, they start reaching out. They start making plans. They start showing up because they sense you're not waiting around anymore. The partner who relaxed, they start trying. They start noticing you again. They start investing effort because the fear of losing you has entered the equation for the first time. The boss who undervalued you? They start negotiating. They start recognizing your contributions. They start seeing you as irreplaceable because suddenly your departure feels possible. Nothing about them changed. They're the same person. What changed was your market position. You stopped being guaranteed. You stopped being safe. You stopped being the person who would tolerate anything to keep the connection alive. And the moment you stopped being that person, they started seeing you differently. Not because you became someone new, because you revealed who you always were. Someone with options, standards, and the quiet willingness to walk away from anything that costs more than it's worth. This is the shift people spend years trying to create through communication, through explaining, through begging to be valued. But communication doesn't create respect. Scarcity does. Consequence does. The real possibility of loss does. You don't need to say, value me. You need to become valuable by making access to you conditional on respect. That's not manipulation. That's self-preservation. That's you finally understanding the game that's been playing you your entire life. But you might be thinking, isn't this manipulative? Isn't this just becoming the kind of person I resent? Let me show you why it's not. You're not manipulating anyone. You're stopping them from manipulating you. Being taken for granted isn't noble. It's not love. It's not loyalty. It's self-abandonment disguised as virtue. You've been told that unconditional availability is what good people do, that forgiveness without consequence is what strong people do, that tolerating disrespect is what mature people do. That's a lie designed to keep you compliant. Let's be clear about the difference. Manipulation is lying about who you are. This is revealing your actual value. Manipulation is creating fake scarcity through games. This is correcting economic irrationality, the irrational decision to give luxury treatment for free. Manipulation is manufacturing threats you don't mean. This is being genuinely willing to walk away from what doesn't serve you. There's nothing fake here. You're not pretending to have options. You're building a life so full that you actually do. You're not pretending you might leave. You're cultivating the self-respect to actually leave if necessary. That's not manipulation. That's clarity. Here's what nobody told you about loyalty. Your devotion without reciprocity isn't love. It's a transaction where you're the only one paying. And to people who take you for granted, your loyalty doesn't prove you're good. It proves you're controllable. They know you'll stay no matter what. They know your boundaries flex. They know you'll forgive, explain, tolerate, absorb, endure. So they relax, they stop trying. They take the path of least resistance, which is taking you for granted. You have two choices. Continue exhausting yourself, pouring into people who drain you, staying in situations that devalue you while they get luxury at discount prices. Or adjust the market to match reality. Stop giving what isn't valued. Stop staying where you're not respected. Stop being available to people who only want you when it's convenient. Make losing you expensive, not as punishment. As correction. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming honest about what you will and won't tolerate. You're not becoming cruel. You're becoming valuable. And value doesn't apologize for its price. You walked into this video being taken for granted. You're leaving it with 7 mechanisms to change that. Not through begging, not through explaining one more time why you deserve better, but through strategic correction of your position in every relationship you have. Have a life they're not part of. Be willing to walk. Stop reaching out first. Improve visibly. Withdraw warmth when disrespected. Let them see your options, mean your boundaries. These aren't tips. They're psychological weapons. And when you use them, here's what happens. People don't value you because you taught them they won't lose you. The moment that changes, everything changes. Watch how they suddenly remember your worth. Watch how effort appears out of nowhere. Watch how respect returns, not because you demanded it, not because you threatened, but because they felt what life without you might actually look like. The friend who stopped calling, they start reaching out. The partner who stopped trying, they start showing up. The boss who overlooked you, they start seeing you as irreplaceable, Not because they woke up one day and decided to be better people, because the cost-benefit analysis shifted, because losing you became expensive, because you stopped being guaranteed. This is the power you've had all along. You just didn't know how to access it because nobody told you the truth. Value isn't created by how much you give. It's created by how much it would cost to lose you. And right now, you're about to make that cost undeniable. But this only works if you commit, if you draw the line today and mean it. If you stop being the person who absorbs everything and starts being the person who enforces everything. So here's what I want you to do. Go to the comments right now and write this exact sentence. I am no longer safe to lose. Type it, lock it in, let it be a declaration, not to me, but to yourself. A line drawn, a standard set, a version of you that died today so a stronger one could take its place. Today is the day you stop being furniture in someone else's life. Today is the day you stop waiting for people to see your value and start making them feel the cost of losing it. Write it in the comments. I am no longer safe to lose. Do it now. And if this video gave you the weapon you've been searching for, if it put words to a pain you've been carrying in silence, if it showed you the game you didn't even know you were playing, then support it. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. This space isn't for everyone. It's for the ones who are tired of being overlooked, tired of being undervalued, tired of watching people with half your loyalty get twice your respect. This is for those who choose power over politeness, clarity over comfort, self-sovereignty over the need to be liked. Welcome to the ones who refuse to be taken for granted. You are no longer safe to lose. Act like it.